It looks like Tom Brady is about to make the Las Vegas Raiders great again. Ben Johnson is the odds-on favorite to end up getting this Raiders head coaching job. And it all is due in part to Tom Brady as minority owner. It came out earlier today that Ben Johnson, he gave the Raiders an interview when he didn't plan on giving them one because of a convincing phone call that he had from Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, not only is he the greatest quarterback in NFL history, but he's one of the greatest football minds as well. And he knows what it takes to build a winner. He played under a winner in Bill Belichick, along with several other Hall of Fame players and future Hall of Fame players. Tom Brady, if I have to put my faith in anybody to be able to make the Raiders a watchable team and to drag this franchise out of the pit of misery that they put this fan base through over the last 2 decades, Tom Brady is the right guy for the job. And Mark Davis allowing him to become the minority owner and leaning on him heavily for football decisions, I think is one of the best moves that Mark Davis has ever made. When Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco got fired, I felt like Tom Brady had his fingerprints all over those moves because when Tom Brady reaches out to you, you're going to listen. Nobody's going to turn down a phone call from Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is such a well-likable person that it's hard to turn him down. If you're Ben Johnson, you're talking to one of the greats. You're talking to somebody who has been the face of the league for several decades. You know, I'm really shocked that Ben Johnson is probably going to end up becoming the next head coach of the Raiders because I never would thought that the Raiders would be able to lure a coaching candidate that's been viewed in such a high regard as what Ben Johnson is. Ben Johnson potentially taking this Raiders head coaching job is the equivalent to when the 49ers were able to hire Kyle Shanahan. Is it going to be an overnight success? No, it's not. There definitely is going to be a lot of growing pains that Ben Johnson is going to have to go through during his first season if he ends up being the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. But once he gets his quarterback in place and once they continue to build up this roster and add more pieces to it, the Raiders are quickly going to become a Super Bowl contender. And if the Raiders want to be able to win in the division as home to Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid, and Sean Payton with 2 really good quarterbacks in Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and maybe eventually Bo Nix down the line, you got to have a transcendent head coach to be able to survive in what probably is going to be the toughest division in the NFL, that being the AFC West. And Ben Johnson would be a home run hire for the Raiders. This would be the best hire that the Raiders have ever made in the history of their franchise outside of bringing in John Madden. That's how good of a coach Ben Johnson is going to be. He's perceived to be the next coming of Sean McVay with how creative he is with his offensive schemes, how he utilizes motion to create a lot of space on the field, how he's able to find so many different creative ways to get his best athletes, his best playmakers, the hands on the football. I don't see how Ben Johnson ends up not working out as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, especially when you have Tom Brady overseeing a lot of the personnel decisions. Ben Johnson, he probably is going to bring in his own general manager. I hope that it's Chris Spielman. If you don't know who Chris Spielman is, he's been the left-hand man to Brad Holmes. And if you're familiar with former Minnesota Vikings general manager Rick Spielman, who drafted several high-level players like Justin Jefferson, he's going to be a really good general manager hire if that ends up being the guy that Ben Johnson brings along with him, which I have a strong intuition that it will be, because I don't really think that he will bring along anybody else. When people talk about how good of a job Brad Holmes has done when it comes to building up and acquiring talent for the Detroit Lions to become the team that they have over these last couple of years, a lot of diehard Lions fans always bring up Chris Spielman and how he also has had a little bit of his fingerprints when it comes to the blueprint the Lions have followed to become the contender that they've been over these last couple years under Dan Campbell. And Tom Brady, not only is he a brilliant football mind, but he's a great leader. That's something that everybody has always praised Tom Brady for, being able to instill accountability not only into the organization, but to the locker room is what the Raiders are going to need if they're ever going to be able to compete in the AFC West with so many great coaches. And I know that I've been really negative about the Las Vegas Raiders over these last couple of years. It's not like the negativity has been unwarranted, but now with Tom Brady at the helm, I got optimism about the direction that the Raiders are going in. And I've been around for 22 going on 23 years in March. And I've only seen the Raiders make it to the playoffs only maybe 2-3 times during my lifespan on this earth. So the fact that you now have a reason to be optimistic now with Tom Brady being the minority owner and running the show, if you're a Raiders fan, it's a great time to be one. It's a great time to actually have hope. We don't know how you're going to address the quarterback position, but I wouldn't worry about that. Tom Brady's making the decisions, and he's going to be trusted to make the right ones, and I definitely believe that he's the right person to be able to resurrect the Las Vegas Raiders franchise.